What an amazing time for all of us to come together, have performances from all over the world.
Welcome,
And as we get started, we
YMCA
hope you enjoy the
friends
rest
from
of this
around the
information.
world. Whether you're one of the 1,000 who, for the first time ever, are participating in the World Council virtually, or one of the 1,000 joining us in person, we are, at long last, together. Aarhus, Denmark will be our home for the next week. And on behalf of the leadership of the YMCA and the Danish host team, welcome him.
The 20th World Council sets a new standard for engagement and participation. When combining our in-person and virtual delegations, this will be the largest gathering of the World YMCA in nearly 70 years. Yeah. And as we know, it almost didn't happen. Pandemic uncertainty delayed the decision to hold the in-person event to this past February. While the gymnastics that followed was something we hope not to repeat, delaying the decision to the last minute had an important purpose. We are all gathered here mindful of the challenge and uncertainty we all face over the last 2 years. Yet knowing that those same challenges represent opportunities to advance the YMCA's mission in service to our communities, our countries, and our planet. Put simply, we're here because those we serve need us more than ever.
My name is Emily Greco, and I'm part of the Australian delegation. I work as... I think that's them. I work as a Youth Voice and Participation Manager at YMCA Victoria, and I have the pleasure of working day to day to amplify the voices of young people on issues that they are passionate about.
My name is Zaldi Tubig, and I'm a member of the YMCA USA delegation. As a program coordinator, I work to advance entrepreneurial opportunities for young people with the YMCA of San Francisco. Emily and I will be your co-hosts for the duration of World Council. We are here to help you navigate both to maximize your experience and help us to accomplish a lot in 5 short days. As we heard last night, we are a true hybrid event. Half of us in person, half of us virtual. 70% of our delegates are experiencing World Council for the first time. And nearly half of our collective audience is under the age of 30. Our commitment to youth engagement is alive and well through this hybrid event. Nothing about us without us is a promise delivered here in Aarhus.
And while our strength lies in our diversity, demographics alone doesn't tell the full story. In this setting, I believe our superpower is our diversity of perspective. In getting ready for this World Council, I was very much looking forward to re-engaging with old friends and colleagues. Yet for me, that alone won't be enough. I've concluded that to get the most out of this experience, a little discomfort is in order. Why? Well, the world is a very different place since we last gathered 4 years ago. The pandemic and what it has revealed has impacted our communities and our YMCAs in ways none of us could have ever anticipated. No longer can we take things for granted as we once did, which, for me, represents the central challenge and opportunity that this World Council presents. Our YMCAs need us to answer new and bigger questions for one simple reason. They just need us to do so.
The good news is that World Council can be a place to embrace the uncomfortable. That happens when we open ourselves up to new perspectives. To those who understand the YMCA and the world differently, why is this important? Because together we are intergenerational, intercultural, and interdependent, guided by our shared values, bound together in the knowledge that we can achieve more together than apart. This week is our opportunity to make a difference.
By the way, we have landed in the perfect place for this kind of work. Just as dignity and caring are at the heart of the YMCA, they are foundational in Danish culture as well. In 2017, the Danish term, and I apologise for the Australian accent in advance, hygge, was added to the Oxford English Dictionary. But what exactly is hygge? The term refers to finding comfort, pleasure, and warmth in simple, soothing things, such as a feeling of friendship, contentment, and well-being. Hygge can be used as a noun, an adjective, or a verb. It's wholesome and it's nourishing, which in its truest expression is joining with loved ones in a relaxed and intimate atmosphere. Now, I'm not sure if the 1,000 in this theatre and a more 1,000 online can describe this as an intimate atmosphere. Yet, when considering the purpose of this gathering, there might not be a better word than hygge. This week, let's all embrace our inner Dane and appreciate what we have and cherish what brings each of us to this World Council.
Before we get started with formal program, here are a few practical matters for your information. We've boiled it down to 6 things you need to know to survive World Council 2022. Here's the first.
We are one. Nope. We are one. That means we are both in person and a virtual World Council. At times, we're an integrated whole with our virtual audience taking an active part in what's happening here in ours. At other times, our colleagues are doing their own thing, experiencing most of what we experience, but virtually. While born out of necessity, this hybrid event serves a vital purpose to reunite our global community and include those who couldn't be with us in person. Our virtual colleagues are listening in now, so for all gathered here in ours, please join me in giving them a clap.
Your name badge. Each of you are wearing a name badge which contains information you'll need to navigate World Council. On the front, there is a colored bar that will help us ensure delegates are where they need to be. Of particular importance are those of you with a blue bar. That designates you as a voting delegate and authorizes your entry into the voting venue. It's this room, in fact. Voting happens today and tomorrow, so if you have any questions or concerns, please address them at the help desk. On the back of your name tag is some information regarding excursions, collabs, and dinner with a Dane. For some delegates, this information is not correct. We would ask you to disregard what is now on the back of your name tag and rely on what is on the World Council app. For those of you who do not have access to the app, please stop by the help desk for confirmation at your earliest convenience.
Get the app. Have you downloaded the World Council app yet? It will tell you all you need to know about sessions, collabs, speakers, locations, wayfinding, meals, activities, you name it. It will also help you access services like health and safety and how to ask questions in plenary sessions. For some of you using an older Android device, you may not be able to download the app, but there's a simple workaround. It applies to you. Please stop by the help desk.
Be COVID aware. As we all know, COVID is still with us. And with the advice of the Danish Health Authority, this in-person World Council has developed a COVID-19 protocol. This includes recommendations on masking and social distancing, all designed to keep the health and safety of each other in mind. We also have provided you 2 antigen tests, one of which you should have already completed, one we ask you to complete tomorrow. Please have a look at the protocol, which you can find on your app.
Be on time. Yes, we all know how social YMCA folks can be, myself included. And during meals and throughout breaks, you will have plenty of time to connect with your old friends and colleagues. But please be aware, we will start our sessions on time. Our virtual streaming follows a very, very strict and specific tight schedule. So please, out of respect, be prepared indicated on your schedule in the app.
Just ask. You'll find a delegate help desk here in the music house where you first registered. Open whenever the music hall is open. The help desk, along with over 120 Danish host team volunteers, are all part of the team here to ensure you get the most out of this World Council. Remember, if you need help, just ask.
That's the only shtick we're doing, I promise. That, friends, is all from us. We'll be back later today and throughout the week with information to help you navigate World Council. But for now, on with the show. First, our governance session leading into a vote on Vision 2030. Please welcome to the stage the President of the World Alliance of YMCAs, Patricia Pelton. Here we go.
Agenda of the World Council. According to our constitutional requirements, the agenda of this World Council is required to be approved by the delegates. The agenda has been sent earlier to the national movements along with the notice of the World Council, and through Convene, I assume that the agenda is acceptable to you. Regarding the voting procedure, each national movement has nominated their voting delegates, and these have been registered by the World Alliance of YMCAs. So please make sure your Convene app is open. All voting delegates have been given the instructions on how to vote, either in person or online, through a ballot form that's accessible through the Convene voting app, and all votes will be cast at the applicable time. Voting delegates, make sure you're open, and I'm going to repeat the motion. The motion is to accept the business agenda of the 20th World Council meeting 2022. Do we have a proposer for this motion, please? Cece, thank you. Cece has proposed this motion, and Otto. Otto Vinale has seconded the motion. I request the voting delegates to vote through Convene and to approve the agenda. Thank you. You have 2 minutes. Okay, thanks for your patience. You know, I never have to say to YMCA folks, please just go ahead and chat after you're done voting, because everyone seems to just assume that function, so thanks. It looks like we've got 97 yeses, 0 noes, and 0 abstentions. We'll consider that carried. Thank you. All right, now we're going to move on to the report of the 19th World Council. This is in lieu of an expansion of minutes of our meeting of our full body from 4 years ago, held in Chiang Mai, Thailand in 2018. This has been circulated to the national movements immediately after the 19th World Council, and also recently to the national movements, and now through Convene. I propose a motion to accept the report by voting in Convene, and the motion is to accept the report of the 19th World Council held at Chiang Mai, Thailand, 2018. May I have a proposer and a seconder for this motion? And I will tell you that I'm going to be taking people from the front row just because it's very difficult. We're limited in time. So Indong Song had asked to propose this motion. He is online. Thank you, Indong. And Sohela, thank you very much, has seconded the motion. May I request the voting delegates to vote through Convene to accept the report of the 19th World Council. 2 minutes to complete your voting. Thank you. Yep. Okay. So as you can see from the screen, we've got 90 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions, so we will consider that vote carried. Thank you very much. So this concludes the formal opening requirements associated with World Council, but now we start with the real fun, what we've been waiting for. It's my pleasure to present to you the World YMCA Vision 2030, the strategy of the global YMCA movement for this decade. This session is for the adoption of Vision 2030. The formal resolution has already been submitted to all national movements and their voting delegates, and is on Convene for those delegates. Our Global Vision 2030 strategy has been co-created by 120 national YMCA movements with extensive inputs from global gatherings, forums, and consultations over the past 3 years. We can truly say it was a collaborative effort with input from every level of our global organization. I would say input and ownership. As we are proud of this historic moment and achievement, it is built on our commitment to bring dignity, equity, and compassion to a world of indignity, injustice, and unkindness. I now invite Carlos to the podium to present our Vision 2030 essentials. Thank you. And while he's coming up to the podium, we're just going to watch a video on Vision 2030. Thank you.
before, this is our moment. It's our time to ignite change and to empower young people to create the world they will inherit. Our vision is a world where every person lives in harmony with self, with society, and with creation. Our mission is to empower young people and communities worldwide to build a just, sustainable, equitable, and inclusive world where every person can thrive in body, mind, and spirit. On our vision by aligning with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, prioritising 4 strategic and intersecting pillars of action. We believe that individual and community well-being are strongly connected. We will ignite change by providing high-quality, relevant and sustainable health and well-being solutions to young people and communities worldwide.
Me being a single dad, trying to be mom and dad, I was really scared to get my kids to work. Me was like a really having like motherhood. Right after work, you come home, just do things like that, and
We believe that young people are full of potential and purpose. We will ignite change by providing and advocating for meaningful education, training,
and employment opportunities for current and future generations.
I don't have any qualification, but with the help of Ghana YMCA, Media Hub and VetFem, I'm able to control a picture profile like Sony S-Log, Canon C-Log, Blackmagic Raw, etc. YMCA Media Hub and VetFem has given me this exposure, and this is a big change in my life. When I see how the Media Hub is helping me, I feel like, why don't I impact my knowledge to the young ones? So I like teaching.
Rebuild is a trade-based social enterprise that works with participants that have been in the criminal justice system, teaching trade and employability skills to young men and women while they're incarcerated, and then assisting with transition into employment with commercial rebuild once the guys are released.
The family was very happy when I was with Rebuild. I don't think Mum's been any happier to see her son go and join a place where people actually care about him. Rebuild truly does care about each person that walks through their door.
We believe in taking responsibility for a planet under threat. We will ignite change by decreasing our carbon footprint, supporting sustainability solutions globally, and contributing to regenerating the Earth.
The window of opportunity is very small and fast closing. But that does not mean we do not have hope, and we'll return to hope in a second. Diana, you want to add?
When I look at young people, I see people that look like me. They talk like me, they think like me, they live the experiences that I have. We all grew up with climate change, you know?
We have this problem that I think the last generations maybe didn't have, and maybe I'm the first generation experiencing that.
We believe in the dignity of every human being. We will ignite change by defying discrimination, inequity, injustice and racism, and will amplify the voices and actions of young people as agents of change for a safe and equal world.
My name is Marta and I live in Ukraine, which is a country in Europe. I live in western part of the country in a medium-sized city called Lutsk. You need to understand the context of Ukraine, and I think an important part is that we used to be part of Soviet Union, and then the Soviet Union collapsed and people started building a new independent state. And now, because of the war in the eastern part of the country, it's a totally new challenge for us. Young people have to go fight, and their families stay, and we have a lot of refugees and internally displaced people.
We have set internal, local and global goals. What YMCAs do in their own organisations, in the communities they serve and on a global stage. The spirit of Vision 2030 is that we are united, 120 YMCAs aligning in unique ways, with global approaches in best policy and practice, as well as shared resources and local solutions. Together we have created one global vision, and we are ready to bring it to life uniquely in over 12,000 communities in 120 countries, impacting over 60 million people. This is our moment. This is our time to ignite change toward a just, inclusive and sustainable world. This is YMCA Vision 2030.
I could not be prouder of our united collaboration and journey. This is our moment. This is our time. This is our Vision 2030. But let us remind ourselves of what Vision 2030 is. I'd like to show you some essentials of the Vision 2030. Our collective vision. Our vision is a world where every person lives in harmony with self, with society, and creation. Therefore, the YMCA mission is to empower young people and communities worldwide to build a just, sustainable, equitable, and inclusive world where every person can thrive in body, mind, and spirit. We have 4 pillars of impact: community well-being, meaningful work, sustainable planet, just world. Each of these strategic pillars have 3 goals. 1 goal for YMCA, 1 goal for our community, and 1 goal for global impact. And together, we came with the pledge. And this is our pledge as a worldwide movement to make sure that we live in a just, sustainable, equitable world for all. And now, I want to bring some thank yous. I want to thank all the 120 national movements who were invited to input. I also like to thank this national movement who financially supported the development of our collective strategy, Vision 2030. Thank you so much. My sincere thanks goes to my colleague of the global staff team. These are the people who are behind, working day and night, advising, make sure that we all coordinate our effort. My dear colleague, thank you so much. We have a North Star steering group composed of different people representing different constituents of YMCA, young people, staff, volunteers, board leaders, the global, and also our affiliated partner group. They come together, receive the document, look at it, make commitment before we went through the consultation process. Dear member of this committee, I want to thank you so much. And behind the scene, we have our project team. These are the people who receive all the comments and come with draft and another draft and another draft. I want to say, mes chers amis, un grand merci. And a special thanks to you all. You have all contributed to Vision 2030. Thank you for your input and ongoing commitment. Now I'd like to invite Mathilde. She is the chair of the Strategy Committee of the Executive Committee. All the Vision 20 work was under that committee. I want to invite Mathilde to tell her a little bit about the engagement, the process, especially of young people. Welcome, Mathilde.
Thank you, Carlos, and dear World Council. The vote that is being called today is one that will make history for our movement globally. YMCA Vision 2030 has been shaped heavily by our collective voice, starting at the YMCA 175 in the Padara groups, YMCA Youth-Led Solution Summit, and the 2 movement-wide Vision 2030 consultations. Based on our collective voice, the 4 pillars reflect what's important to us globally. And I believe we, the YMCA, can be the change our world and our communities need more than ever. I'm honored to have served as the chair of the Strategy Committee during such a historical process for our movement. I would like to acknowledge and thank the Strategy Committee for their governance and role, and especially I want to congratulate the Vision 2030 project team, which was led by Secretary General Carlos Sanve and Head of Strategy Razvan Sasu. Once adopted, we will move into the activation and implementation phase of Vision 2030. The collabs here at World Council will start this process and will engage both live and online participants to receive inputs from all global movement as a kick start for this important work. We have also prepared an activation plan to assist YMCAs on how to include Vision 2030 in their strategic plans, offering assistance to whoever who needs that. I hope when you leave World Council here in Aarhus and online, that you will strongly feel the ownership of Vision 2030 and will be ready to start activating and implementing it in your own YMCAs all around the world. With the Vision 2030, we are working towards our collective mission to empower young people and communities worldwide to build a just, sustainable, equitable, and inclusive world where every person can thrive in body, mind, and spirit. Thank you.
And really, a very special thank you to Mathilde. She's just been an outstanding chair of our Strategy Committee. So we have now allocated about 10 minutes for any final questions from nominated voters. We will receive questions from the audience through the app and from our online audience through the online hub. We can receive questions from the audience here, but due to COVID restrictions, we can only have a couple of questions, and we would try to get a microphone out to you for those couple of questions. So while others are filling in the questions and you're thinking about whether you're going to ask a question, let's hear from our global colleagues. We've got a little video for you. Thank you.
For the YMCAs in Africa, The Vision 2030 significance is a collective effort to better empower young people and serve the communities. We will be happy to be able to map out an overall impact within less than a decade. It is also important for us to say that the Vision 2030 helps us to achieve our continental vision, that is the African Renaissance.
In YMCA Asia Pacific, the significance of Vision 2030 is that we now have a world-widely agreed North Star direction for our region to strongly align with, taking into account the diverse realities and contexts existing therein. We are thus called for radical collaboration among all levels of YMCAs to realize the Vision 2030 with strong relevance and impact.
Vision 2030 is an opportunity for all of us to see ourselves in the YMCA. It unites the global YMCA movement together around our shared values to build a just, sustainable, equitable, and inclusive world. Together, we can make the YMCA that the world needs.
Vision 2030 is a unique opportunity. It will help us aligning on the essentials at all levels. It is also an excellent way to position our movement, internally and externally. And today, this is more needed than ever. All of us, all our YMCAs will benefit from Vision 2030. Thank you.
En América Latina y el Caribe, Visión 2030 nos va a ayudar a definir el papel que va a tener la YMCA para las juventudes en el siglo XXI y trascender en un momento clave de nuestra historia.
In the US YMCA movement, we believe there's never been a more important time to invest in young people in our country and around the world leading global transformation. We are inspired by Vision 2030's deep commitment to advance progress toward the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And we look forward to working together to build a better world.
To our online viewers, just a reminder, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box now.
So I'm now going to ask John Phillips, our Communications Director from World YMCA. He's receiving questions on the app, and so he'll let us know who the question is for if it's been designated. Thank you. John?
Thanks, Madam President. Here's a great question. It's short, but it's big. Vision 2030 is great, but tell us, how do we as YMCA national movements actually implement it? Important question.
I'll take that. How do we implement a Vision 2030? I think we'll start here to implement Vision 2030. From tomorrow, we're going to go to the CoLab. And CoLab is to use our imagination and our reimagination to project ourselves into the future and to say to ourselves, in 2030, if we will be successful, what should we be doing, or what will the success look like? What are the key things that we need to do to be successful in 2030? So the CoLab will come with all those creativity initiatives. And immediately after the World Council, we're going to map up where we are from Vision 2030, with Vision 2030. You already saw that many of national movements are already implementing many programs related to Vision 2030. So from where we want to be and where we are, there is a gap that we need to fill. So we're going to pull together a group of YMCA staff and volunteers to design the path that is going to take you to us, and we're going to have a point gradually to check on each other to see how we are making progress. And I want to assure you that we're going to be very serious with it, with all the participants, with all young people, all our community members, to make sure that next time we will meet, we will not be asking ourselves how we read, but we're going to say, this is how we are implementing Vision 2030.
Thanks, Carlos. And John has advised me there aren't any more questions online or from our hub. So we can now turn to questions from the floor if there are any. Okay, good. Hearing none, we will just move right on into talking a little bit more about Vision 2030 and then going on to the vote. So now I'd like to invite the voting delegates, both in person and online, to vote for the adoption of Vision 2030 as follows. Affirming the Paris Bases, adopted in 1855 as the foundational statement of the mission of the YMCA and building upon the legacy of the Kampala Principles adopted by the 1973 World Council in Uganda, Challenge 21, adopted by the 1998 World Council in Germany, Nairobi Statement, adopted at the Executive Committee and Stakeholders Meeting in 2012 in Kenya, the Values Statement, adopted by the 2018 World Council in Thailand, and in alignment with the Sustainable Development Goals set forth by the United Nations as Agenda 2030, considering the extensive consultation process that took place between 2019 and 2022, the 20th World Council adopts the following resolution. 1. YMCA Vision 2030 is approved as the global vision of the YMCA movement for the period 2030 as presented in the YMCA Vision 2030 Essentials document distributed to the National General Secretaries. 2. The World Alliance of YMCAs, Area Alliances of YMCAs, national movements, local associations worldwide are therefore invited to adapt to their own strategic plans and contribute to the realization of YMCA Vision 2030. 3. The World Alliance of YMCAs will develop a strategic plan that will support the activation and implementation of Vision 2030 and the fulfillment of the World YMCA's roles, which will be reviewed, approved where necessary, and amended by the World YMCA's Executive Committee. I'm looking for someone to make this motion. I know, Mathilde, that this is as the Strategy Committee head, she certainly wants to make this motion. So thanks, Mathilde, and a seconder, Carolina. So Carolina Lopez, thanks so much for the second. It's now time for all voting representatives to vote on their app, please. Please vote. 2 minutes.
While our delegates are voting, please stay tuned for our keynote later on this morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. Ban Ki-moon, he is a founder and co-chair of the Center for Global Citizens, and he will be addressing topics including the COVID pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and the challenges in working globally and consistently, and the centrality of young people in policy and practice. Following that, there will be opportunities to join sessions around 2 of the pillars, one around meaningful work with online networking, and then the second will be around sustainable planet with online networking as well. So we'll have an opportunity to work on 2 of those pillars that Carlos Sanvi talked about earlier this morning. The results are in.
So we've got 109 yeses. We have 0 noes and 1 abstention. Sorry, we have 1 no, 1 abstention, and 109 yeses. We will certainly consider that as passed. And it will go on record that this historic moment of YMCA history, our first global strategy, was witnessed by over 1,000 attendees from over 120 countries and over 1,000 virtual attendees. Congratulations. This is our moment, this is our time, this is our Vision 2030. It's our time to ignite change.
Thank you, Patricia, Mathilde, and Carlos. We've all just experienced something so spectacular that's never happened before. A first ever global plan created by many and signed off by you. This means you are now officially a part of a YMCA history. If that's not celebration worthy, I don't know what is.
Okay, everybody, we cannot let this time pass. It's time to preserve the memory and moment with a picture. So, as our photographer comes to stage, everybody stand up, put your hands up, and make your best imitation of a Y, and scream out, "Hooga!" Thank you. You can all take a seat now.
Okay, thank you all. Have a seat. And our virtual delegates, while you cannot be here in person, please know that you are here with us in spirit. We invite you to join the celebration by posting the online using the 2 hashtags you see on the screen. Thank you for all helping us make a little bit of YMCA history. Now, let's continue the morning program. I would now like to invite to the stage Peter Posner, immediate past president of the World YMCA and co-chair of the election committees, as well as Samira Traore. Welcome, Peter and Samira.
It's worth waiting for, I tell you now. I have to say, and this isn't in the script, you look very beautiful. I need new glasses.
It's great to see you all from up here.
Well, look, the governance agenda continues, and this is part of the most important part of the World Council. And this is starting the process for the elections of the new Executive Committee. And it's going to be done in 3 stages. Today, this morning, for everybody here, we're going to give you a report from the Election Committee, which tells you what we've been doing, how we've done it, and written into the wording is the fact that we've covered everything that needs covering as required by the Constitution and bylaws. This afternoon, in this room, those who are voting delegates, show of hands, put your hand up if you're a voting delegate. You're especially beautiful, and you need to be here later, and we'll tell you about it. You also need to be here tomorrow, and we'll tell you about that as well. I'm joined on stage by my good friend here, Samira.
Thank you, Peter, and good morning, everybody. It's great to see you all. This morning, Peter and I will be delivering the report of the Elections Committee. Over to you, Peter.
Thank you. The appointment of an election committee, its tasks, responsibilities, and operating timeframe are prescribed in the World Alliance of YMCA's Constitution and bylaws. The election process is required to begin at least 2 years prior to the elections. And indeed, the Executive Committee began the process in October 2019. And the Election Committee co-chairs were appointed in March 2020. By May 2020, the Election Committee members were appointed, all from different geographic areas. In July 2020, national movements were advised of the formation of the Election Committee and its duties. The committee membership is Helen McEwen from New Zealand, who is my co-chair, myself, Peter Posner from England and Wales, Carolina Lopez from Peru, Evelyn Guy from Senegal, Ruhi Ismail Teya from Canada, Samira Traore from the USA, Patricia Pelton, President, Carlos Sanve, Secretary General, they are members ex officio, which means they don't have power to vote, but they're a fantastic resource for us. Now, travel restrictions, including COVID restrictions, has meant that some of our election committee are not able to be here in Aarhus, but they're online watching and taking part as other people are.
When the Election Committee first met in May 2020, it was the height of the coronavirus pandemic. We assumed there would be some form of World Council in 2022, but we did not know if an in-person World Council was even possible. Consequently, we had to devise new methods of enabling the world movement to get to know the candidates standing for election, as well as devise a new voting method, both of which should work with any combination of in-person or virtual attendance by the candidates and the voting delegates. An online voting system has been specially designed to ensure that everyone is able to vote, whether they attend virtually or in person. Of the 163 registered voting delegates, many of you raised your hands a moment ago, most are here in person and more will attend virtually. The Election Committee is delighted that we have a voting system which enables virtual attendance of our voting delegates. Traditionally, candidates that are standing for election presented themselves in person before plenary. For this World Council, we did not know if any of the candidates would be here, or indeed if the voting delegates would be here in person. Consequently, in the spirit of the bylaw requirements, we arranged for all candidates to record their introductory speech in advance in a common format, and these were embedded in the widely distributed nominations book. Additionally, 2 webinars were held to meet all candidates more informally. About 150 people attended these webinars.
The 2018 Election Committee Chair, Ken Collerton from the USA, provided feedback and recommendations from those elections to ensure that we have an efficient election process. These were mostly regarding the timing of the election plus other administrative changes. For those of you that have been to World Council before, you will know that we are doing this at the beginning rather than towards the end. Much better time and better place to do it. The Election Committee reviewed these and shared them with the World Council Planning Committee. The Executive Committee provided us with a summary of the skills, the duties and obligation that would be required of candidates. The Election Committee undertook a review of what we've called the job descriptions to align with these attributes, and the draft job descriptions were then reviewed by the officers and the Executive Committee for fine-tuning of details. The job descriptions were included in the candidate application booklet, which was produced by the World Alliance Office. I'm sure you'll agree that the job descriptions recognize that candidates need to put in a lot of work, hard work, on behalf of the World YMCA during their 4 years of tenure.
In January 2021, giving the required period of at least 18 months prior to the election, national movements were informed of the elections, sent the application booklet, and were invited to submit nominations. However, during 2021, changes to the Constitution and bylaws relating to the composition of the Executive Committee were proposed, and these changes were passed at an extraordinary World Council on October 30th, 2021. The overall number of Executive Committee members was reduced from 30 to 23, and various timeframes were amended. Included within the Executive Committee are now 11 elected non-officer members who are selected according to the following quotas. First, a minimum of 4 being 30 years of age or under when elected. Next, a maximum of 7 from a gender. And lastly, representation from the geographical regions as follows: 2 from Africa, 2 from Asia and the Pacific, 1 from Canada, 2 from Europe, 2 from Latin America and the Caribbean, 1 from the Middle East, and 1 from the United States. After the extraordinary World Council, the number of nominations received increased substantially. The Election Committee continually reviewed nominations received to ensure that candidates met the eligibility criteria and that overall nominations would be insufficient numbers for a full election.
Some potential gaps were recently identified, and further nominations were requested for those positions, and those positions were for the position of Treasurer, the position of Deputy President, and a committee member from the Middle East. Appropriate nominations were received, and the Election Committee are delighted to be able to confirm that a full election is able to take place. The Election Committee actually met 14 times during the period of time we were planning, and has had numerous other side meetings alongside it, and we've provided regular updates to the Executive Committee during that time. So my co-chair, Helen, and I would like to thank all the Election Committee members, members of other relevant committees, and numerous members of staff that have helped and given valuable advice along our journey. We hope and pray that these 2022 elections for officers and Executive Committee members will run smoothly and provide the best possible World YMCA Executive Committee. So thank you, my friends. That's our report.
Dear friends, now I would like to introduce to you the election candidates. The nominations book has been made available to you earlier through our website, and you will find details on each of our candidates there. Earlier, we also organized 2 webinars on Meet the Candidates, and videos are published in the nominations book and on the website. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you again the candidates one by one. First, for the position of president, we have two candidates. Tak Fai Ronald Yam from Hong Kong and Sahela Hayek from Lebanon.
You will have gathered that because not everybody's here, both either the candidates themselves or indeed everybody attending this conference, that we are not bringing them onto the stage. That is why we did it virtually and had the videos. For the position of Deputy President, we have two candidates, Tak Fai Ronald Yam from Hong Kong and regular Liz Temperley from Switzerland.
For the position of treasurer, there are also two candidates, Christopher Lewis from Australia and Cecilia Rojas from the United States.
For the position of executive committee members, we have Christopher Lewis from Australia.
Cristiano Freitas Ristov from Brazil.
We're ahead of the photos, so just admire these yet more beautiful pictures. Here we go. Brenda Flaherty from Canada.
Maureen Kuba from East Jerusalem.
Monica Autio from Finland.
Lena Schickhaus from Germany.
Jacob Benjamin Koshi from India.
Pius Kamal Ganga from Kenya.
Sahila Hayek from Lebanon.
Indong Song from South Korea.
Nalisoa Andrian Arrivo from Madagascar.
Sarah Bremner from Scotland.
Regular Liz Temperley from Switzerland.
Ronald Sangor from the Gambia.
Karen Joy Fatalvero from the Philippines.
Kevin Doji Fiashinu from Togo.
Ana Clara Rodriguez Canzani from Uruguay.
Harvin Valabananeni from the United States.
And Cecilia Roja, as you can see in there, known as Cici, from the USA.
Thank you to all of our candidates for putting yourselves forward and for your willingness to serve the World Alliance of YMCAs.
And I just want to say a personal thank you to all of you representing your national movements, because we've engaged you for the past 2 years. We've sent out lots of messages, you've responded. And thank you, I add my thanks to those candidates that are standing for election. It's a big job with big responsibilities, but it's one of the best things you could possibly do for your movement. You will change the entire direction of the YMCA movement in the world. So what an honor to even stand, so thank you again for that. Now I can see from these little screens in front of us that we're running ahead of time, so now's just a moment to have a word from my sponsor. I just want to show you my beautiful tie. It seems to be a British tradition to hold your tie up. But in doing so, I want to show you that it's actually a YMCA tie. And it's a YMCA tie from Scotland, and if you find them, they'd be delighted to sell you one. Look, my friends, this is a biggie. The elections is a little bit dry because it needs to be process-driven, but the outcome of it is fantastically important. So thank you for engaging. The first voting session, which will be to elect the officers of the World YMCA, those that are voting delegates, and only those that are voting delegates, and it will only be voting delegates that will be allowed into the hall, please be here ready for 2:30. Not arrive at 2:30, but be ready for 2:30. The way it works is that there will be the election for the president. We will then, those of us that are voting candidates, both online and here in the hall, will need to know the results of that election because it affects the candidature for the deputy and for the treasurer. So we will firstly have the presidential election. We will know those results. We will have then the deputy president election. We will know those results. We will then have the treasurer election. Now, all of you who are voting delegates, both online and here in attendance, you are sworn to secrecy because there is a tendency for people to say, do you know what's happened here? That can't happen because what we want to do is to have a little bit later this afternoon the presentation of your successful candidates. And I just would love everybody that will know these results to keep that to themselves, as difficult as it's going to be, and I know that, so that we can enjoy the occasion a little bit later this afternoon. And then tomorrow we will have a similar meeting of voting delegates, which we will warn you about and tell you the timings of it, where the voting delegates online and also live will come together, and we will have the elections for the voted members of the election committee, the members of the, sorry, I'm getting mixed up, of the executive committee. We need to change the names of election committee, executive committee. They're all ECs. So it's going to be straightforward. It's going to be fine. We're going to vote online using a special system that we've devised so it can be used all around the world. You don't need convene, which is great from my point of view because it's simpler to use. And it will be wonderful and we'll have a good result. So my friends, thank you. I just want to remind you that if we're dismissed now at 9:44, you need to be back here in advance of 11 o'clock because we have none other than Ban Ki-moon addressing us, and you really want to be here. So thank you, my friends. As far as I'm concerned, that's it. I think as far as the people behind me, I think that's it. We can tell you some jokes and sing a song, but maybe you'd like to go and have a coffee. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Just one last comment from us. Because we just want to make sure absolutely everyone understands what's going on. Now, not only today was a record in passing Vision 2030, it is a record because we have finished a World Council session early. Give me a round of applause. I'm pretty sure this has never happened. But what that means is we have given you the gift of time. So as Peter said, we need you to be back here at 11 sharp. And what do you think they can do?
Go grab a coffee, go make some friends, go trade some pins and bring me back one. And we'll see you back here at 11 sharp. Go ahead, enjoy your break.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning for the inaugural business session for 2030. As Patricia said earlier, This is our moment. This is our time. This is our Vision 2030. It's our time to ignite change. So we'll see you in a little over an hour for our keynote speaker, Ban Ki-moon, again, founder and co-chair of the Center for Global Citizens, as he talks about current topic events and the ways that we can continue to make change.